Hey everyone, Simon here again, your host for the Modern Awakened Perspective, your map for the path to enlightenment. And I've got another story, another report here for you, shall I say. And this is about the amount of ridiculous presidential candidates we have that are planning to challenge the President Trump for the 2020 election. And basically, I'm going to go over some of their policies and platforms and show you why they should definitely not be taken serious. So before I get into the story, I'll ask everyone to please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. That way this channel and this content can be found by people down the road. And also, if you hit the notification bell, you'll be notified when I put out some new videos, which I plan to do fairly often. And also, it'll help because YouTube has changed their policies recently so that videos like I make will not be recommended to people anymore. They're trying to keep this kind of content from even being seen. That kind of shows you how they lean onto the left and the liberal side, and they're trying to prevent any sort of conservative message from even being seen by people. So let me go ahead and get into this list of presidential candidates that are making themselves look pretty bad and don't deserve to be elected, that's for sure. So the first on the list is a guy who was in the news yesterday, Beto O'Rourke from Texas. He held a counter rally against the rally that Trump was holding last night in El Paso. What's interesting is that that's his home state, and he only drew a couple hundred people to his rally. While, you know, as usual, Trump's rallies were huge. Of course, it was sold out, and there were thousands of people even waiting outside just to, you know, be around the rally and be around like-minded people with positive spirits, shall you say. So that just goes to show how overwhelming people are in favor of Trump and how he's making America great again. Even in his home state, he drew only a few hundred people to his rally, while Trump had thousands and thousands of people inside and many thousands more just waiting outside just to be around the rally. So that's basically the angle I had on Mr. O'Rourke. I don't know much about him other than that, but that shows he's not as popular and doesn't hold much of a chance. So next we have a lady from Minnesota named Amy Klobuchar. I think that's how you'd say her name, but I don't know much about her either. She hasn't made herself stand out too much to me. The main thing that I want to address about her is that she is in a major player in the climate change scene. Now keep in mind, she's from Minnesota, where it's notoriously cold, but yet she's all about climate change, which used to be called global warming, but it's been so debunked that they had to change the name from global warming to climate change just to keep this charade going. And what's interesting is when she made her announcement, you know, and discussed her platform about climate change, it was in Minnesota, Minneapolis, I believe, and it was snowing on her. It was almost blizzard conditions, and it was like 8 degrees, while she's sitting there talking about global warming. Hello, really? And she's supposed to be somebody we elect, and she's supposed to be somebody that has all the information and the facts, and someone that we need to put into a position of power? I don't think so. Any more dirt I have on her, I'll let you know, but I don't expect her to stay in the race very long, honestly. So next we have someone that a lot of people probably know about, Elizabeth Warren, aka Pocahontas. She got this name because she's notoriously claimed to be of Native American descent, when it was proven that that's not the case, that she's lied about this for quite a long time, actually. Some documents have surfaced showing that she's been claiming to be of Native American descent for a while now. But when this was questioned, it's kind of picked up momentum. People were questioning this fact about her, that she decided to take a DNA test to prove that she has Indian Native American blood. But this actually shows that she is not really part of the Native American culture, because the leaders of like the Cherokee Nation have come out and discredited her basically because of her doing that. And they say that that goes against their particular teachings and philosophy, because it's not your DNA or your blood that makes you Native American. It's your you're being part of the culture, and you building relationships and being just like-minded and being part of the group. So the fact that she even went through the lengths of trying to prove it and take this blood test shows that she doesn't know the traditions and the culture that she's trying to claim to be part of. I mean, it's like a slap in the face to those people that don't need any more slaps in the face. You know what I mean? So she is really discredited herself with her claims, and the DNA test itself proved that she can't make that sort of claim, that it's like the most minute chance that someone maybe in her family generations, and maybe 7, 8, 9, 10 generations ago, may have been partially Native American. I think almost all of us in the United States could probably say that. I mean, for her to go around filling out paperwork as a Native American is just pretty ridiculous. So let me see. Also, during her presidential announcement, she was taken so unseriously that people were seen walking out of the rally on live TV. So that's how captivating she is. So again, I don't think she is going to be a very serious challenger to President Trump in the 2020 election. So moving on, we got Kamala Harris. This is the same woman that I've reported on before, that she started out her political career by sleeping her way to the top, shall you say, sleeping with a married man, former San Francisco Mayor Willie Brown, who was twice her age, and he's come out and said that he, that she was the mistress, and that he gave her, these high-paying government jobs as a favor for sleeping with him, or whatever, trading sexual favors, exactly, however you want to put that. But she was basically prostituting herself for a high-paying job and to get into government, and she just continued that trend from there. Now, something new about her, which proves she's a liar and not to be taken seriously, is in a recent interview, she was trying to make herself seem cool, I suppose, saying that she smoked weed in college and that she did inhale, and she was back there in college in the 80s listening to Snoop and Tupac while she was high. Well, she might have been really high because that's clearly a false statement. Tupac and Snoop didn't even start rapping until the 90s. I mean, these kids were probably kids back then when she was in college. They were probably still in middle school and high school. So not only does she not know anything about the rap scene or about these particular rappers, she's clearly lying about her history. So she cannot be taken seriously at all. From sleeping with people to get jobs to lying about that, she's just discrediting herself entirely. Let's see, we got Next, a guy named Julian Castro. He's from Texas also. He's a former Secretary of Housing of Urban Development, and he has a brother in the House of Representatives. I don't know much about him. I haven't seen anything about his policies that make him stand out and seem like he has any unique ideas. Nothing that would make him seem like a strong candidate to challenge President Trump. You've seen, like I said, about Trump's rallies, and a lot of people seem to be in favor of what he's doing, so he's likely to get another 4 years, in my opinion. So next we have Cory Booker, aka Spartacus, from New Jersey. So he's got the name Spartacus for falsely claiming that he was taking a big risk by releasing some documents that would maybe get him in trouble for doing it, but he was willing to risk it anyway. But it then was proven that those documents had already been released, been approved to be released. So he was clearly lying to make it seem like he was a risk taker and going out on a limb, risking his job to get the facts to the people. Clearly, it was all a farce, a charade, whatever you want to call it. Now, he was also known for backing up, I think it was Maxine Waters, or another politician who had suggested getting in the face of Republicans, that basically challenged them physically and trying to intimidate them. Now, it doesn't seem like that's how politicians are supposed to act, how politics is supposed to work. You don't try to, bully and intimidate the opponent. You're supposed to argue and offer counterpoints to their platform. That way, you can make a name for yourself and gain support for your particular policies, not by trying to bully others. So that shows he's not really fit to be in a position of power or to be in leadership, in my opinion. Now we have Kirsten Gillibrand. This lady is horrible and should not be taken seriously whatsoever. She's clearly a liar, and she led the charge to get Judge Kavanaugh from being instilled as a Supreme Court judge. She was fully behind all the lies of the people that came out, the 3 women that came out and said that he had sexually assaulted them. 2 were immediately disproven and discredited. I mean, they didn't even stand a chance. None of their stories held water. But then you had the Christine Blasey Ford out there giving her talk, but she was clearly discredited too, in my opinion. This lady, Kirsten Gillibrand, was all about saying that she believed them and they had to be taken seriously. But this was basically her 3rd attempt at trying to do this in her history, and her previous 2 accounts were discredited also. One was when she was behind the charge to get a fraternity on the University of Virginia thrown off campus and charged with rape, when Rolling Stone even covered that story and published it, but they had to pay $1.65 million to the person that was accused of committing this assault because the story was completely discredited. So that's one. And then another one was she brought a lady called the Mattress Girl to the State of the Union in 2015, and she was also discredited, and they had to settle with the accused in that story too. So that's 3 false sexual assault stories she led the charge behind. So that shows she cannot be trusted. She's a liar. She's pushing agendas. So these are the people that you have to vote for. Hopefully you don't think any of them are a good option. Now that's up to you if you agree or disagree. The comment section is open for you to comment, but that's the story how I see it from my perspective.